feeling that you're not alone is huge in restoring some confidence and some self-esteem, thinking actually this is just a normal part. I'm not going mad, or my body isn't falling apart.
Hello and welcome
Okay.
back. Now, just before we get started, if you're watching this on the Total Somatics YouTube channel, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and press the notification bell. So anytime I drop an episode, you find out very quickly. Now, today we have a very special guest, and I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction into our guest. Her name is Jo, and she's from the UK. And then I'm going to bring Jo in, and we are just going to chat generally about her expertise and her experience and all everything. So you're going to enjoy this. So put your feet up, have a nice cup of tea ready. So you're going to enjoy this episode. So let me tell you a bit about Jo. So Jo Gaffney is a UK-based independent occupational therapist, and she has developed a speciality in image consultancy. So this sees her working with people at various life stages where their personal identity and their self-esteem has taken a knock. So this is really something that resonated with me. And as I mentioned, when Jo and I are just chatting naturally, from discussions that I have with clients in clinic as well as online, there are different periods of our life that you do feel like you take a bit of a hammering with your self-esteem and that sort of thing. So I think it's a really, really apt episode from a lot of discussions that have been had in recent times. So I'd like to bring in Jo Gaffney, who it's lunchtime with you and it's nighttime with me. So we're connecting from both sides of the world here. So how are you, Jo?
Hi, Heidi. I'm very well, thank you, and thank you so much for inviting me along to talk to you.
Not a problem at all. Now, I was going to say, Jo, you have this huge experience, an array of clients that you see. What kind of clients do you see? What are the problems that you often are presented with?
Well, I do see, although initially my services were marketed for anybody that wants to have any help with their image confidence, it's 99% women. And they come to me at various stages of life, like you've alluded to just now, where they're not feeling particularly confident with the way they look to the outside world. So this can happen any point in their life, from graduates from university that suddenly I'm not a student anymore, I need to look professional, or just having had a baby and coming to terms with the massive change in lifestyle, but also the big change in their physical appearance, all the way through to menopause. I'm there too. I get a bit emotional when I speak about menopause, so I'm just going to warn you about that. And then ladies who retired often will come to me and say, I've spent my adult life in corporate suits. I don't know who I am anymore. Help. So it's a whole range of different reasons that people do present themselves to me.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting, is it? And I thought if it's possible, if we can kind of take little snippets from the different periods of a woman's life, or no pun intended on that expression there, but but I was thinking the different periods of life in the sense that there's like so many physical changes, and going right back to like the pregnancy time, um, you know, there's so many friends and even clients that have mentioned over the time it really affects their confidence with pregnancy. How have you helped women during this period of their time to kind of maintain a positive self-image? Because it's pretty hard when you see all these people that have these bodies they bounce back into supposedly after a few weeks of pregnancy or birth, post-birth,
It's so interesting, that last bit you said there, that we see usually celebrities, people in our on our phones or in the media bouncing back, but the people that don't bounce back aren't presenting themselves to you on your phone and on TV. So we have this false sense that that's the norm, to bounce straight back, get straight back in our genes. And the reality is often we never get back into that same pair of genes. And it's a really unrealistic goal to set for yourself during and post pregnancy. The sad thing for me, with regard to this group of clients, is that they don't often come to see me until the kids are going off to high school now. It's 7 or 8 or 9, 10, 11, 12 years later, but they all go away saying, I wish I would had come to see you earlier, because what they were struggling with was this whole new body, and even working really hard to get back to pre-baby weight. They're not the same shape, so things move around in our body. We grow this tummy, and it's not just extra weight. It can be that really difficult weight to shift. That it's the skin and the muscles have changed, and of course your whole lifestyle changes around that. So you might have less time to do the exercise you need to do. You're less inclined to plan a good nutritious diet, so that's gone out of the window while you've got this miniature human being that's totally dependent on you for 24 hours a day. And some of that weight gain, let's think, we immediately think the tummy, don't we? A pregnant tummy is a beautiful, beautiful thing, but edematous ankles aren't. So we kind of think, I don't mind this little pot belly that I'm growing, but oh my God, my hands and feet have swelled up to double the size, and it's not as attractive, and my clothes aren't fitting me like they used to. So it's kind of, some things are accepted as beautiful, and other things aren't.
And the thing is as well is that you think it's actually incredible to be able to grow this little human as well, isn't it? And I think sometimes there's so much focus on what we look like when our body's changing, but we're actually thinking how incredible it is that we're actually creating this whole little life that's there. So it's almost like you want to stay calm during the pregnancy and then afterwards as much as you can, because all that cortisol is having an impact on the baby, isn't it? So and then for us that can affect weight gain or losing that weight if we're still in a very stressed state, isn't it? So it's kind of just feeling that natural evolution into a different phase. Does that make sense? It's kind of, as you say, we might not be able to get back into those little genes before, but this is a whole different life, and there's a little child that's just you've just created this baby. So it's that we want to focus on, isn't it? How we embrace our amazing body after something like that.
Definitely, and that forms a big part of the work that I do with this group of women, because it is about re-evaluating life and the body you need to enable you to do the things you need to do, and that's looking after this other human as well as yourself. And see your whole self, and not just the bits of your body that you're not liking or you're having to learn to accept. Trying to maintain things that you did before for your self-care, for your skincare, for your, if you were wearing makeup every day before baby came along and now you're not, sometimes it's just those little things that can help you to regain that confidence, that image confidence, your pre-baby image. This is what I always explore with women, is how confident were you before baby came along, and what was it that made you feel confident? And we talk about those things, they're all positives, and say, well, oh, straightening your hair made you feel good, well, you can still do that. So, or if it was, I was up at 7 a.m. for a morning run, okay, we might not be able to do that yet or straight away. So, but let's focus on the things we can keep doing, the roles and routines that help us feel good about ourselves. Like you say, in the management of cortisol, and knowing what's going on in our body, accepting it, and then dealing with the things that we can deal with.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it's having that, when you're mentioning all that, it's that growth mindset, isn't it? And it's so interesting to have that growth mindset, because that's what we want to adopt as we move forward. And yeah, I was just trying to think of the aspect, but it was the word growth mindset came out when you were saying that, because it's just wanting to continue to grow and develop, instead of being stuck in that fixed mindset of wanting to be a certain way. Does that make sense?
Oh, perfectly, yeah. And I think this is the thing, that at any life stage, that we forget to reassess where we are, what's happened, what's changed in my life, what needs to change in my attitude. We don't ever step back and think, right, hang on a minute, it's okay to feel this way, or I don't need to feel like that anymore. We kind of go with the flow and we carry on. We develop habits that might not serve us, and they get entrenched, and we carry on thinking a certain way or doing certain things that don't necessarily serve us anymore. And I think you're absolutely right there. We have to take a step back to enable a growth mindset to take the place of what's already entrenched and not serving us.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. I was thinking, so we've got like that, we've got that whole exciting period with pregnancy. I'll tell you what, we women, we get the short straw. I mean, everything's revolving around these blooming hormones. So we've either got issues with periods, or you're worrying about are you going to have a period or not. Then you've got all the hormones with pregnancy, and then if we move forward a few more years from there, we then hit menopause. So I mean, we've just got it great, haven't we, really?
It's rubbish, isn't it? It is rubbish. But how strong are we? Because we cope, we deal with it, we get on and we do it. Women are so strong, so resilient.
They are so resilient. Yeah. I was going to say, because obviously with the whole menopausal side of things, what are the common like physical and emotional changes that you'll see with women during this whole period with menopause? And obviously with many, it can affect their self-esteem as well. What's your experience in that area?
My experience is women come and say, I don't know who I am anymore. One of the biggest physical complaints, it is weight gain again. Who aren't we lucky? But also your skin's getting drier, your hair might be thinning, you just feel generally lackluster. So women feel, they tell me they feel invisible, that you're at the same time, menopause is going to happen between 45 and 55 for most women. And at that time, we've also got the normal things that come with aging, like the wrinkles, like the sagging, gravity's taking its toll. We're losing pigmentation in our skin and our hair, and we feel like we're fading away. And this is what the women come to me. They always say, oh, I've wanted to do this for years. So they come to me desperate. And I just, again, similarly, how I said with the new mums, is that they all say, I wish I'd done this earlier. Because what we do is explore, let's talk about you, let's look at the whole of you. What makes you tick? Who are you? And then what are you showing to the outside world? How can we work with all your qualities and characteristics and tackle we can tackle the physical changes and the emotional changes head on. So a lot of women will say, I used to be this, I used to be that, oh, I used to wear short skirts, or I used to be a size 10. Why are we grieving about what we used to be? Let's celebrate who we are now. No more periods. That we don't have to impress people anymore. We can really, I used to see this before I was menopausal, and I think it was a bit cringe that people would talk about stepping into your own space, taking up your place. And I thought, what's all that about? And I'm here now, and I can tell you it's absolutely true. This is who I am. Get over it. If you don't like me, I don't care. There's this something that comes, could be ever such a slight apathy, that we don't have to impress everybody anymore. We can just be ourselves. We got the wisdom. I truly feel that it's a transformational time for a woman. Yes, I've got a bigger belly now. Yes, I might get the odd hot flush, or like magic moment, as one of my clients calls her. So she takes away the negativity, the hot flush, oh, I'm out of control, I'm all red, I'm all sweaty, I'm having a magic moment. And she just she doesn't remove herself from the situation. If anyone's got a problem with it, it's not hers. And we just have to kind of reframe what we see about it. If your hair is thinning, there are things you can do. If your skin is dry, we can review your skincare routine. We do not have to dress like an old lady. One of my clients, bless her, she said, Jo, I'm at that age, I've got to hang up the Doc Martens. I'm not 30 anymore. And I said, why have you? Well, let's let people will think I'm mutton dressed as lamb. Will they?
Ah,
What's your
that's a
evidence for that?
that's a disempowering belief system there, isn't it? Wow, that expression.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's awful. Um, and I mean, we did a bit of work together. She wears Doc Martens now, of course. She can wear what she wants, because actually what's really attractive in a woman is confidence. And when I do like an image consultation and we look at the inner personality, we look at the outer body, we can't ignore the physicality, the changing shape. The boobs have gone down to meet the belly and we don't feel great. We've lost our waist somewhere under that lot. So there are lots of easy peasy quick fix techniques to dress to make yourself look better, but it has to be for you. And then there are other ways of thinking about how you wear the color, wear the heels, wear the short skirt. If you feel fantastic, it will ooze out of every pore. For you, it won't matter what other people think because you're confident, you like how you look. And for others, they'll just see that positivity coming from you. And the saddest thing about all of that is we've waited till we're 53 to do it.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I mean, I'm wearing black. I'm always wearing black when I do these episodes, where, but there's a lot of people that just start wearing black, don't they? Because they go, oh, it's slimming. And you're like, well, if you like black, fair enough. But if you're doing it because you think it's slimming and you could be embracing all these different colors and it's just, it's a shame, isn't it? If that's the case, because again, it's just because you feel that conditioning that we need to be a certain way if that's what society says. But the thing is, Jo, you said a few things which really connected with me. When we had the menopause summit earlier this year online, there was one of the experts that talked about how it's during this period of time during the menopause that women have got all this life experience, work experience. They are really comfortable in their own skin. They are the best mentors in different settings. And yet it's one of the biggest times that they leave the workplace or they reduce the hours, which is why now workplaces are looking at accommodating situations where people are maybe struggling with things with menopause. But this is the best part. This is really where you've done all that foundational work the previous decades and it all comes together. And it's true, when you see a woman that's really comfortable in their skin and really happy, they glow from the inside out, really. And I think that, I don't know about you, but you get more interesting conversations anyway, so because they've had so much more life experience. And it's true, they don't, there's a lot of them, they don't want the hassle, they don't want that toxicity. It's like, this is what I want, these are my boundaries, and that's the way it's going to be. If you don't like me, well, that's hard luck. It's that sort of thing. You really do come into your own, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. And you know who you want around you and who you don't want around. It's controversial, but some of our friends are just we forget why they're our friends. And the people that you surround yourself with are really important. I think it's a time when you can kind of have a little bit of a cull. Actually, spending
Yeah.
time with that person doesn't serve me anymore. I'm going to do less of it. We start thinking ahead and how we want to spend the rest of our years. We've still got decades ahead of us. How do we want those to look? And how
Yeah.
do we want to look? And how do we want to be viewed? And what are our goals and aspirations? Because they'll be very different to the ones we had when we were 20.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was thinking, Jo, if we move from the menopause, but just thinking of things like, chemotherapy. Have you worked with people with anything like with chemotherapy in that aspect, or any of those sort of big life challenges? How you've kind of helped support women with their confidence? It might not be chemo, it could be something else, but the things that really get you and it can knock you right back. What have you done with people to help them cope with those changes?
Well, the first thing to say is, yes, I have worked with people who have had chemo, that have had limbs removed, that have had mastectomy, that have lost all of their hair. So every single person's experience is totally unique. So the first thing I'm going to do is have the chat. Don't assume. I have one client, bless her, who lost all of her hair and it never grew back after chemo. But that wasn't her primary concern. I might assume, oh, that's what we're going to work with, but she wasn't bothered about that. So it's always starts with a discussion, what's important to that person. And then what I will often do is talk about all the things that make them who they are. So we've got this great big long list of fabulous things about this person that they've created, and there's this one thing that they're not happy with. So we kind of have to let's redress the balance. Oh, look at all these amazing things about you, but you're unhappy that you've lost your hair, or you're unhappy about you're losing a limb. That's really glib, actually. Unhappy. They're devastated. And it's a lot to come to terms with. So we talk about all the things that are still fabulous. It's a solution focused kind of approach. What's working well? What do you love about yourself? Let's enhance those things. I think mastectomy is a really important area to maybe talk about, because it's something hugely associated with femininity, and it's a loss. It's a feeling like I'm not. One lady said to me, I don't feel like a woman anymore. And of course she's a woman, and anyone else looking at her doesn't even know she's had a mastectomy, but it's her internal processes that she's having to deal with. It's not about what anyone else thinks. So we talk about all those things that make a woman feminine, if that's what's important to her, and having breasts is one of them. There's can be 15, 16, 17, 18 other things that make you feel feminine, and we just start to work from there then. And it's the conversation. The client has to lead the conversation, and then we need to figure out how do they feel right now about themselves and get them to give that let's quantify that. What's the score out of 10? And then often it's a 2 or a 3 when they first come to see me. So I talk about, what does a 3 or a 4 look like then? We're not trying to get to 10 out of 10. Did you ever feel 10 out of 10 before you had your mastectomy? Most women will say no, a 7 at best. So actually, what are we really trying to achieve? How do you want to feel? And then that it's up to them to what's going to make you feel a 6 or a 7 or an 8 out of 10. One thing I would also just put in here is that lots of women, they'll come and see me after their chemo, after their surgery, but there have been a handful that I've seen during. And often chemotherapy, it takes over your whole life. Your life is going to your appointments, feeling shit afterwards and picking yourself back up. And then you actually doing the things that make you feel good in that time are really important. So one lady in particular, she couldn't leave her home. She'd had a course of chemo and she was waiting to have another course in 8 weeks' time. So her sister booked her a colour analysis. It's colour analysis is not, it's nothing to do with anything to do with the treatment she was going in. It's a service that I provide for anybody, but being able to go to her home and deliver that for her just gave her a morning of not thinking about chemo, not thinking about all the other rubbish that's going on in life, but it's a morning all about her. And we just talked about colour, a little bit of escapism, a little bit of recognizing the skin changes that she was undergoing and the colours that could make her skin look healthier and fresher and make her feel more confident. And we did that in the middle of chemo. We didn't you don't have to wait till afterwards to still do nice things.
Yeah, I think it's such a good point. When you mentioned something a bit earlier, because I was talking to a client today and I said that we were going to be doing this conversation, and she had breast cancer many years, well, about 15 years ago, something like that. And she was saying how, just what you were saying, how, but she said it didn't affect her when she lost her hair, because in her mind, she kept going, my hair will grow back. It's the only thing in this whole saga that I want to grow. Everything else, we'll get the cancer out of her breast. And then she had double mastectomy. And then she basically then had the chemo and things. But she just said it was very fascinating to talk to other women, and some other women really found it difficult with the hair loss. But then I've got two friends that in recent times have gone through different types of cancers, and they've both lost their hair. The one's got the most beautiful wig, very similar colour and style to her hair. It's absolutely gorgeous. And she's still got that at the moment. And then my other friend's hair has grown back, but she just used to wear like the little, and they were all different colours. It was really cool. She wore all the different little colours, and she always had like, I always say like Cadbury purple hair. She had like short Cadbury purple hair. So she wanted to keep that colour the same. So it was interesting how you can see they're still wanting to bring their personality out instead of it feeling like they've lost their identity because of this whole scenario.
Oh, God, yeah. I love that story, by the way. And there, it reminds me of a client that I had who, yes, she had temporary hair loss. And actually, whilst her hair while she had lost her hair and it was growing, she rather than investing in it, you can get some absolutely magnificent wigs that look, no one would know they were a wig, but she didn't do that. She bought some nasty, all the colors of the, I'm going to just wear a fluorescent pink wig or bright yellow. So I haven't got any hair, everybody can see that. She got brows tattooed on, and you could still tell that she was undergoing some sort of treatment, but she just embraced it. So she'd been a really fun, loudest person in the room character before treatment, so she was gonna carry on being that person during. Her hair's back now. She's a little bit, it's come back grey. The hair can come back a different
Blonde, it's
colour.
called ash blonde. Ash blonde. That's what you call it.
That's me, Ash. Silver fox is what I'm aiming for.
Oh, I was going to say though, when we were talking about like the confidence with women and that sort of thing, we've mentioned already how like the pressure of society really does have an impact. So have you noticed how, if there's been any changes over the time now with working with women over these years, if you've noticed if there is a change for the positive where people are feeling more empowered, or do you still feel there is quite a bit of pressure from society and media, all that sort of thing, to be a certain way? I don't know if that's coming across clear, but it's just your observation over the time.
Do you know, I think there's more pressure than there ever was. So I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and the pressure came from magazines and TV. But now it's in our hands. Our phone is never very far away from us. I think the pressure is bigger, but also the power has, the empowerment has got bigger. So it's really dependent on the individual and their personality. So you can immerse yourself in thinking, oh, I need to look like her, or I need to look like this celebrity, who's probably been airbrushed or filtered. Or you can say, you can choose who you follow on social media, and there's lots of body positive influences out there. Dana Mercer is quite a good one to follow because she's actually very slim. She's when we think of body positive, they're usually plus size, celebrating carrying some weight and being happy. But Dana Mercer is a very slim woman who on the surface she's got model looks, but she'll show you exactly what she looks like pre and post pose, and she's normal and she's got the cellulite, and I love her for that. And there are loads of others to follow, so we kind of, it's our choice whether we want to be positively or negatively influenced. When women come to see me, they're very, very good at, if I accidentally talk down about myself, they'll pull me up on it, and I do the same. But they're not very good at doing it for themselves. So we kind of, there has been a shift. I think the pressure is bigger, but I also see just some amazing examples of people flying in the face of that and saying, take me as I am.
It kind of weaves in a bit from what you said earlier. You know, when you start like culling people that you think, oh, the conversations, or it just doesn't serve me well anymore. Well, it's almost the same as you say, we've got these little devices in our hands. The algorithms are a bit like in-person culling. From the algorithms, we can choose the content, and how the algorithms work, we will get more of that content. So, as you say, if we're looking more at the empowering stuff, and less of all the poses, you know, narcissism and all that that's online, which is what it is. If we're looking more at that positivity and that empowerment, the algorithms, if it's on a social media or if it's on a YouTube channel, whatever, will start to cull it into favorable content for us, really, isn't it? So we can use, you know, everyone talks negatively sometimes about the algorithms, but it can actually work in our favor if we get really selective about what we watch. And because I know, like with my social media, or if I'm looking at anything on YouTube, I don't really get anything on figures and dieting and weight loss or anything like that, because I never look for that. You know, it's all this other stuff. You know, it's usually all mindset, inspirational quotes, you know, all that sort of thing. So it does
Yeah.
pick and choose what you decide to look at, isn't it?
Oh, well, absolutely. Yeah, we do. We might feel like we're out of control, but we certainly got some control. Yeah, I have people, like you just said, they'll say, oh, these weight loss things keep flashing up on my phone. And I say, oh, I don't get those. You know, I
Yeah.
get obviously lots of clothing pops up
Yeah.
on mine because I'm shopping for clients a lot of the time. Yeah, you will get what you generate, what you put in. So what you're searching for is going to come back at you, and if you're looking for weight loss advice, you're going to be bombarded with it.
Yeah, you are. What do you know, when you look at like your support networks, because that's really important, isn't it, that if we've chosen a support network or a group of friends that are really empowering and positive, how do you feel over the time with your experience you've seen how that's really impacted women, like emotionally and physically, and you know, with their self-esteem? Have you seen a shift, and have you seen how it's driven them to create those boundaries and to really be selective about their support networks?
Yeah. So what I do a lot of the time, this is the occupational therapist in me. We'll have a look at, let's have a look at life. Tell me about a typical day. Tell me about a typical week. Who is in that? Who is in a typical day? Who do you see in a typical week and beyond? And how often are you meeting up with your friends for coffee? How often are you going for a spa day or a day trip or a date night? All of those things. And then, you know, often women will tell me, oh, well, I'll have to go and see, I won't insert relative here. I have to go and see every week otherwise. And oh, why? It doesn't, do you enjoy doing that? No. What are you getting out of it? Nothing. But if I don't, she will moan, make me feel bad. Uh, she can't make you feel bad. So we have this whole like kind of re-look, evaluate your life and who is in it and who do you spend time with. And I know, and everyone will know, I have friends that I spend time with and I come away feeling uplifted.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope they do too. And then there are people that I spend time with and I come away exhausted. And you have to think, who are the mood hoovers, the energy zappers that you've got in your life? And either can you start to deal with them in a different way? So, you know, start when they're moaning, is employing your own sort of your own solution focused on them, asking open questions that can only elicit a positive answer, or get rid they're not
Yeah.
serving you anymore. Some things you can ask people when they are moaning is, oh, well, when was that not a problem, or what was happening the last time you felt great about A, B, or C? It has to be a positive response.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works with people, and then there are certain people it doesn't work for, and they're not serving you.
No, it's I call them energy vampires. It's what it is, really.
Exactly
It's an
that.
energy vampire, isn't it? And that's the
Yeah,
thing, is you look and you think, well, you may need to keep that connection, but you probably just limit the time that you're there, or because you see that, don't you? That some people just thrive on the drama, or they like play that victim and things. And as much as you try and change the dialogue, it keeps going back. So you think there's only so much you can do, and then you kind of find that common ground, and then just take your leave as quick as you can.
exactly. And you're right. If there is someone in your life that you can't just cut out, it's what you decide how much of your time you will give to that person, then put a boundary around it. And spend more time with the people that do give something back. Friendships, relationships have to have a mutual gain.
Yeah.
You can't just be the therapist and counselor for somebody. They've got to be your therapist. That, relationships are therapeutic, and you can't emphasize enough, women do need other women. As a menopausal woman, spend time with your menopausal friends, have a laugh about weeing when you sit down and can't do your jeans up anymore, you've got safety pins holding things together. Have a laugh about it and know that you're not on your own.
Yeah. It is. It is incredible though, Jo, that you think every woman goes through this, but people just don't talk about it. It's like there's conversations over the time that people will go, I've asked my mum, what was she like with menopause? And she went, oh, I just sailed through it. Or they don't really allude to much at all. And you think, well, everyone's gone through this. But it's being discussed more now, isn't it? And then, as you say, those little anecdotes of what people experience, you're like, well, I'm glad I'm not on my own. It's like, and that's what it's
Yeah,
about, really.
it is. And feeling that you're not alone is huge in restoring some confidence and some self-esteem, thinking actually this is just a normal part. I'm not going mad, or my body isn't falling apart. It's all normal. And that's, I think you're right. Our mums, my mum didn't tell me about menopause, and her generation didn't talk about it. I think, here we've got Davina McCall to thank for putting it right smack bang in the public eye, and we can all talk about it. But find your group. As some ladies I see will say, well, my friends have already been through it, or, I don't want to talk to my friends about my itchy body parts. And so there are loads of groups on social media. You can join a group, you can be anonymous in some spaces, or you can go and meet with like-minded women that aren't your next door neighbor or your your sister-in-law, and have open, safe discussions. But do talk to someone.
Mm. And do you know why I just want to emphasize that point about talking to someone is that it's something I feel really strongly about, and it kind of weaves into this. But for suicide, that period of time is actually the most vulnerable for women, isn't it? And so on that aspect, it's actually really important to have those networks and to connect and check in with people. Would you agree? Have you heard much, or can you elaborate on that? But I mean, that's what the stats are in many countries now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the case here. Yeah, so the suicide rate is highest for women between those ages of 45 and 55.
Mm.
And that is a shame. And we have seen news recently of a woman who ended her life. So it's feeling like something's going on. It's out of your control. Um, I meet ladies all the time who will say, I could quite easily just drive my car into a brick wall or
Mm.
off the edge of a cliff. It's a common thing to hear, and it's really quite shocking. that the amount of women that have said that, because it's not necessarily the changing body or the changing the brain fog or the hot flushes. It's this decline in our mental health and well-being, and this feeling of utter depression, and I can't cope anymore. One of the symptoms of menopause that I never knew about until I got there myself was this just sheer overwhelm, that I can't, feeling like you can't cope with everyday activities that you did cope with last week, and suddenly, oh, I can't remember things. You have to start telling your family, don't ask me to get something from the supermarket when I do the shopping. You have to write it on a list. That something that you've been doing for your whole adult life suddenly feels too much to cope with. And I meet women who do that. There have been fleeting moments where they could let's just end all of that. Luckily, they haven't gone through with it. And the fact that they've come to talk to me about it is a good sign. But talk to somebody, anybody, and do see a GP. There's a lot of bad press about GPs not being genned up on menopause and other hormone changes, but actually a lot of them are. They're kind of being forced to get clued up now. So and of course our friend Diane, Diane Bourne Porterfield is where I do direct. If women come to me with these sorts of thoughts, I want them to be going to see a hormone expert, have my practical functional lifestyle review advice, but also go and get the evidence-based support around managing hormones.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely brilliant. And I'm glad you mentioned about like that, what they can do with the approach, either GP or with Diane. And what I'll do is make sure everyone's got in the show notes here. I'll put Diane's details on there. So Diane's done 2 podcasts with me. She's been in the Menopause Summit. So yeah, she's great, isn't she, Jo? So I'll make sure that that's in the show notes as well. So people can always email her to ask specifics, and she does online consults and things. But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Jo, because it's just, if this is resonating with them now, it's really good for them just to go off and see the GP, and they can take bloods and they can check all sorts of things as well. And just that somebody's they're on the radar, someone's keeping an eye on them.
Yeah, you're never alone. There's always somebody. If you see a GP and they're not helpful, see another one, and then another one, and keep going.
Yeah. I was going to say, Jo, just looking at I've got a couple of little questions here towards the end that I just thought I'd have a look at. And a lot of it's kind of weaving in from what we've discussed, really. But I was going to say that, and it really does what we've just chatted about, but I thought in case there's any extra points, I put, how can women redefine their sense of self-worth and confidence beyond their physical appearance, especially through all these different life stages?
Yeah, it can take it. It takes time, so they've got to give themselves permission, and it really is a lot about investing in yourself as well. Think about, who are you? Who do you want to be? What are your qualities? What are you good at? Who do you love? Who loves you? Thinking about all of those things is not just about how you look. I think when you have a little look around you, you should be surrounded by evidence that you are a fantastic person. There are people that choose to live with you. There are people that choose to visit you. You do a job, or you do your job well. What sort of environment have you created around you? I always ask people to think about the different environments: your physical environment, the place that you've created in which you can work, in which you can be, in which you can relax. It's all things that we take for granted but are really important to our well-being. And then your social environment, who is around you, and if there's a gap, fill it. There are people, they're probably friends. I know I've got friends that I haven't caught up with for a few months. Book a date, and it isn't just about your appearance, but redefine what makes you you. And I know we've talked a lot about menopause. I think it's a great life stage to take a step back and think about, who am I now? I don't have to be who I was 10, 20, 30 years ago. do I want to be now? CBT is a great a methodology, I think, to employ around this, around thinking about who you are, building confidence, regaining self-worth. It's finding a really good therapist who's going to help you explore those thoughts that you have about yourself and how to reframe them. You do need another human being to be able to do that. I think when we internalize our thoughts, they often go in a bit of a downward spiral, but when you externalize them to a qualified therapist, it's the other way. You can go, you'll spiral upwards.
Yeah.
I can wax lyrical about this a long time.
No, it's true though, and it's good to have somebody like that, because do you know, I used to hate this expression, but it actually really ties in with this, and I use it all the time now. But it's that expression: you don't know what you don't know. And so when you go to see somebody who's going to be a coach, like with CBT or whatever it is, you're just in your little world, aren't you? And sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees, but then when somebody else is there, they will, that's what, as you say, they extract it, and then they'll take you out of like this rumination, or because it's a conditioning. Whatever we do up here, we condition it, don't we? The content we read or we watch, or the music we can listen to. Like before we came recording, I just put in the clinic here because it's late at night, and so I can just have a party on my own here on a Friday night. And I literally just put on the 90s music through Google, and I was just dancing away and that sort of thing. But we're digressing now. I can't remember where I was bringing the relevance of that, but it's literally how you can just shift your energy, shift your body, and feel a million times better. I've digressed. I can't remember why I brought that in, but
I'm glad you did, though, because it resonates. And I'd say this to anybody, no one ever came back from a walk in the fresh air and said, I feel worse. And no one's ever put music on. I mean, you said 90s. I would disagree. It needs to be 80s. But you put some music on and you will. Music is so powerful. So it's about you changing your environment. And I know if I put music on in the morning, I get ready faster. I get ready happier, with a bit of a spring in my step. So know what works for you and do it.
Yeah. And that's it. I think it was because I was thinking it's like you're shifting, you want to shift the state of your nervous system and all that sort of thing. But I was going to say, Jo, it's like you got your music or like podcasts or audio books. It's kind of how you frame and start your day, isn't it? And I think when we're moving into this whole new life, new transition of our life, you kind of then start thinking, right, this is more about me now. Took care of everyone else for years. This is really for me to do it. But we have to get to this point to make that decision.
Yeah. We do, and if anyone is listening under the age of 40 or 30 or what, start doing it now. It's all about the habits you form. So when you get to menopause or retirement, then you think, oh yeah, all that advice I've had for decades about eating well and moving my body was right. But I haven't actually embedded it into my routine. Do it now, so that actually when you get there, you've already got a really good, healthy balance of, good food, exercise, even your social life, because it's harder to create a new habit at 50 than it is to keep one going that's already established.
Yeah, and I think also it's like if you've done that groundwork beforehand, it kind of really helps when those hormonal changes start anyway, isn't it? Because that you notice lots of those lifestyle things can be amplified, can't they? They can amplify the symptoms a little bit more. So if we've kind of got that routine, it's easier said than done. But if we can get that routine in, it will service our future self as well. So yeah. I was going to say, Jo, is there anything, because we come to closing up here, because I definitely want to highlight where people can find you and that sort of thing. But is there anything that we haven't discussed that you want to bring out as we come to a close?
I guess I would, that I don't think we've missed anything. I might think of something in the next hour or two when it's too late, but I do think it's worth summarizing that what we don't do enough is to do a stock take of life. And I do this with my group. So if anybody wants to have any one-to-one or group support from me, they can find me on my website is www.stylinglifeot.com. And there's a section under services called Discovery Call. It's free. We can have a chat about how I can support them. But one of the things I love doing is getting women to think about, right, what are you doing habitually that you don't like doing and it doesn't serve you? And you know, all sorts of things pop up in conversation. Things like ironing. So habitually ironing on Sunday evening, because when the kids were little, that's what you did. All the school uniforms Sunday night, get husband shirts. That sounds very old fashioned, but women are still doing it. And how liberating it is to say, actually, I don't iron my own stuff anymore. I buy stuff that doesn't need ironing. Why am I spending 3 hours on a Sunday evening ironing other people's clothes who are now 18, 19, 20 years old or 40 odd? I'll just stop doing it. And what I will do with those 3 hours is something for me. So we talk about what's not serving you anymore and what could we replace that with. And it can, you know, it's a little thing that can be utterly life-changing. But I would recommend everybody to just every now and then take stock. What am I doing, you know, habitually? And do I still need to do it? Why am I doing it? And do I still need it? And what could I be doing instead? And look for those groups that we talked about earlier. Find somewhere that is a safe space for you. Find a therapist or a coach that will challenge you. Yeah, so don't stay stuck where you are. There are lots of things you can do to help yourself.
Yeah, and I think we live in a really good time now, don't we? So you know, if you go back, I don't know, 40 or 50 years, like women didn't have the opportunity to do what they can do now. Like they can change, take on new hobbies, start studying something completely different, you know. And then, as you say, like you do a lot of styling for people, so people can now shop online. And they can have a look around that way as well, can't they? Because sometimes it's a bit exhausting going from one store to another, but they can have a look that way as well. So we've got a lot at our fingertips and a lot that we can adapt and change. Although it is nice to go around a few shops and have a look and try a few outfits on. But yeah, we're just in a different era, aren't we? That we can really embrace and take advantage of the great things with the digital world. You know, if we look at that side as well.
Yeah, I have clients all over the world, and do you know, I don't have any in Australia yet, but I have clients in America, Italy, you know, the fashion capital of the world, and we are losing the ability to, we're losing access to the physical shopping, and women still want to look good, but they don't necessarily know where to go to get the clothes that make them look good. So that is one of my favorite services to offer, is I do the online shopping, then they can WhatsApp me the images of them wearing those things, and I'll say, yeah, that's fantastic. Or if they're asking me, does this look right, or how could this be better, we're just doing it all virtually, and their confidence soars. They love that service. Some of them, they want to look good, but they don't particularly like shopping, or they're not able to get shopping. So just get some, this is one of those things, reframing your life. If you want to look good but you hate shopping, get someone else to do it. If you want to live in a clean home but you hate cleaning, get a cleaner. That's on my wish list.
or when you mentioned earlier about ironing, a friend of mine in Sydney posted something on her Instagram the other day, and she just said, I've just realized I bought, the receipt was in the box, I've realized that I haven't used this iron and I bought it 9 years ago.
Oh, I love that she hasn't ironed for 9 years, but oh, what could she have spent that money on instead?
You know, yeah. So when you were saying about the habitual, I thought, well, she hasn't been doing that on a Sunday night for the last 9 years.
Good for her. She's probably been doing something much more worthwhile.
She has, yeah. Oh, it was brilliant. I loved it. So So, Jo, I'm going to make sure we put all the details in the show notes of where they can find you. But is it all right to just say your website again so people can just hear that again? Because that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's www.stylinglifeot.com.
Wonderful.
And you can join my newsletter. It's free. I only write a newsletter once a month. I'd love to say it's because I don't like to bombard you, but it's because I'm too lazy. Once a month newsletter, so it doesn't fill your inbox, and it's all things kind of style and image identity related.
Well, I'm the same as you. I put a podcast and a blog out once a week, so everyone knows it's only going to be out that once a week. Because really, we want everyone to get out and have a life, really, instead of just be
Absolutely.
checking all the emails all the time.
You're so right. Yeah, just read our emails, delete all the other ones,
You
and
got
we
it.
won't bombard you.
We can get it all covered for you.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Jo. And I'm sure everyone that's watching or listening to this around the world has thoroughly enjoyed it too, because I have. And it's just really nice for us all to connect. And I hear so many fantastic comments from people about how these episodes resonate, especially when I get the guests on. So if anyone's watching this, and if you say you're watching this on the YouTube channel, please leave your takeaway points in the comments below. And also, please share this episode with anyone else that you know is really going to resonate with it. Because we covered all bases today, didn't we, Jo? We've covered everything.
We did a
But
good job.
well, they're all important subjects, but yeah.
Thank you so
So
much for having me.
that's all right. Well, it's lovely in my hometown of Worcester.
Ah, it's
So,
cold here, Heidi.
is it?
Very
So,
cold right now.
well, it's warming up here. Hopefully, we can get some colour on my legs soon. It's freezing at the moment. They're just very nice and white and pasty. So, anyway, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone that's watching this or listening to this on the podcast channel. So, I'm going to love you and leave you. I hope you have a lovely day wherever you are in the world. And I look forward to seeing you next time. And again, just a big thank you, big shout out to Jo. And yeah, take care. All my love. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and also forward this on to somebody you know will benefit. To learn more about pain relief, plus how to improve your health and well-being, go to totalsomatics.com. Until next time, take care.